Well, that's going to go down as one of the greatest playoff games in college football history. If you guys just happened to miss the Fiesta Bowl between TCU and Michigan, well, you might want to go on YouTube and search up the highlights because that's one of the craziest games I think I've personally ever seen. It was a back and forth game that just made absolutely no sense, but at the end of the day, TCU somehow managed to come out victorious, and the Horned Frogs of all teams are going to be going to the college football national championship game. If at the beginning of the season you had TCU in the national title game, well, either go out and buy a lottery ticket, or wherever you're getting your information, please send it my way because nobody could have predicted this to start the season. Before we get to the rest of today's video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'm posting college football videos all off season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. Alright, time to talk about this game because honestly, I did not see any way that TCU was going to pull out this victory. Michigan was a 7.5 point favorite entering this contest, and honestly, I thought they were going to win by double digits. Now, I know TCU is a really good team and they've proven it over the last couple of months, but I just didn't think they'd be able to hang with Michigan. I mean, we saw them lose to Kansas State a couple weeks ago, and we saw what happened to Kansas State against Alabama today. So after that outcome, I really didn't think that TCU stood a shot. Well, the Horned Frogs proved me and everybody wrong, but before I say TCU won this game, I honestly think that it was Michigan who truly lost this game. I mean, if you would have told me that Michigan would drop 45 points, have more than 500 yards of total offense, and had fewer penalties and as many turnovers as TCU, I would have thought they probably won by at least 10 points. But it was Michigan that honestly shot themselves in the foot. Now, we can talk about a number of ways Michigan completely blew this game, but let's go all the way to the very first drive of the game. Michigan was able to drive down the field like it was nothing, and they were just yards away from scoring the first touchdown of the game. Now, they opted to go for it on 4th and goal, and personally, I just would have taken the 3 there, but I can't fault them for going for it, just needing a couple yards. But the play call was absolutely ridiculous. They ran the Philly special, and it got completely blown up in their face. You have one of the better running backs in all of college football in Donovan Edwards, who literally just broke out a 55-yard run a few plays prior. Instead of giving it to him on the 2-yard line and punching it in, you run a stupid play call and end up losing 10 yards, and you end the drive with no points. Alright, we'll get to the most controversial play of the entire night, and a play that's honestly probably going to be talked about for many years to come. If you guys are watching the game, you saw that Michigan scored an obvious touchdown that should have stood. But instead, the refs decided to reverse the call, putting the ball on the 1-yard line. Now, watching the replay numerous times, not only was it pretty clear that it was a touchdown, it's the fact that the call was overturned that makes it that much worse. I mean, I don't know what the referees were looking at, but the fact that they had indisputable video evidence to overturn that call is horrible, and ultimately, it looks like that's what the difference maker was in this game. But I'm not going to blame the refs entirely for this loss, because at the end of the day, Michigan had a chance to score on the 1-yard line. Remember how I just talked about Michigan not giving the ball to Donovan Edwards on the 2-yard line? Well, they decided not to give him the ball on the 1-yard line. Instead, they handed the ball off to their linebacker, who fumbled it literally on the 1-inch yard line, turning the ball back over to TCU. Again, this is just a stupid play call that made absolutely no sense. Give the ball to your running back, or even better, you're literally inches away from scoring, just do a quarterback sneak. I talked about this about a month ago when TCU failed to quarterback sneak in the Big 12 title game against Kansas State, and it screwed them, and the same can be said today. JJ Watt literally came out, I think a few weeks ago, and said the quarterback sneak is the most impossible play to stop if you're a defense. So Michigan's literally on the 1-inch yard line, and they could have just quarterback sneaked it in and scored the touchdown. But instead, they decided to be cute with it, and it cost them the ball. And it's not like they turned the ball over and TCU had it on the 1-yard line. They fumbled it in the end zone, giving TCU 20 free yards. Then later in the game, I forget at what point this was, I think it was maybe in the 3rd quarter, Michigan had 1st and goal on the 5-yard line, but instead of just getting the 5 yards, they ran 3 awful plays and had to settle for a field goal. even if they get a touchdown there, this is an entirely different game. But for some reason, once Michigan got inside the 5-yard line, they looked like the Pasadena City College Lancers out there, and they could not play football at all. Actually, scratch that. I've seen a few PCC games in my day, and I'm fairly certain the Lancers would have scored at least a couple of touchdowns given those circumstances. So a number of stupid play calling and just completely forgetting how to play football in the red zone really cost Michigan the game. But it wasn't just that. Although JJ McCarthy had a pretty solid game overall, he did throw 2 costly pick sixes that helped give TCU 14 points. Hell, if he throws only 1 pick 6, Michigan is likely winning this game. Instead, he threw 2, and it turns out they were the difference makers in this game. I will give JJ McCarthy props though, because he literally did all he could in this game to put Michigan on his back and try to pull off the victory. I mean, he had 400 yards of total offense and 3 of the touchdowns, but he just didn't have enough magic in him. This video is actually going to be me just shitting on Michigan the entire way because there's a lot more that I'd like to discuss. Maybe I'm wrong on this and the broadcast got it wrong and everyone on Twitter got it wrong, but I'm fairly certain that Michigan was named the best offensive line in all of college football this season. Well, I wouldn't have guessed it because they were getting completely outplayed the entire game. Remember how Donovan Edwards had that 55-yard run on the very first play of the game? Well, if you take that run out, he averaged fewer than 3 yards a carry the entire contest. I mean, I think he had one run where he got maybe like 7 or 8 yards, but it honestly seemed like every time I saw him get the ball, he was picking up 1 or 2 yards at the absolute most. And it wasn't just him that couldn't run the ball at all. I mean, there were so many times where the offensive line just couldn't open a single hole, and it's like the running back was running behind only one offensive lineman. But you gotta give major props to TCU's defense because they looked like the best defensive line in all of college football. I don't have the final game stats in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that on the broadcast, they said TCU had something like 11 tackles for loss, which, if that's the case, is absolutely insane because their defensive line was shutting everything down and Michigan just couldn't run the ball at any point in the game, which again is really crazy considering they literally had a 55-yard run to start the game. We're going to switch things over from Michigan's offense to Michigan's defense because what the hell was that? I mean, this was a defense that was considered to be one of the best in all of college football all season. Well, they sure didn't look it because they allowed 51 points and 500 yards of total offense. Now, my biggest gripe for Michigan on defense this entire game was the fact that they were blitzing on seemingly every play. Now, for those of you that watched the game, you would know that every time Michigan blitzed, TCU had an answer for it and really capitalized. I mean, all of TCU's big plays in this game were because Michigan blitzed and TCU took advantage. Had Michigan not done a blitz on literally every play, they likely get more stops and prevent TCU from scoring, I don't know, 2 or 3 touchdowns maybe? I mean, I was just blown away seeing how they were doing this so frequently and it just didn't make any sense to me at all. Because honestly, for the most part, Max Duggan didn't necessarily have all that good of a game. I mean, he completed less than 50% of his passes, barely threw for 200 yards, and had 2 interceptions. But he made a number of big time plays, and I think you can guess why they were big plays in that moment. Also, one final thing I'd like to mention, but why wasn't there a targeting call at the very end of the game? I mean, I know targeting doesn't really make any sense anymore because no one knows what targeting truly is, but seeing the replay numerous times, it looked like it was targeting, and even the guy they have on the broadcast, it's like the former referee, agreed that it should have been targeting. Maybe the referees didn't want to give Michigan the ball back and have a targeting call potentially shift the game, but that clearly looked like a targeting, and the fact that it wasn't called given the circumstances is absolutely crazy to me. So yeah, this was ultimately an insane game, and major props to TCU for pulling out the victory. Given all the things that happened to Michigan, TCU was able to take advantage, and they still were able to pull out the incredible victory by putting up 51 points. But like I said, for all the reasons mentioned, I can't help but feel that Michigan really blew this game and handed TCU the victory on a golden platter. It's been a dream season for TCU, and after not even winning their conference title game, they're going to be playing in the national championship just next week. Now, whether that's against Ohio State or it's against Georgia is going to be interesting because I don't know if they have another miracle in them. But then again, maybe they do, and maybe the Horned Frogs are the team of destiny. So it's going to be very exciting to see how they fare about a week from now. So what are your thoughts on the crazy Fiesta Bowl that we just witnessed? Do you agree with me and think that it was Michigan that lost the game and handed TCU the victory, or do you think TCU was overall the better team and earned this win? I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people in the comment section that have differing opinions, so whatever your thoughts are on this crazy game, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm posting videos all off season, so make sure to subscribe if you call yourself a college football fan. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that confusing YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in 2023.